early or late.
This episode of the Off-Road Podcast is sponsored by Colby Valve.
Off-Road Podcast, episode 458, Florida Trail Teams.
Tonight, Aaron does a drive-by, Coy eats wet tacos, and Ben chills out.
Welcome to the Off-Road Podcast, a podcast about everything off-road. We cover the news, review products, interview people in the off-road industry. Your hosts tonight are Aaron, Coy, and my name is Ben. And tonight we are joined by Mark Lawson. And welcome to the show.
Wet tacos.
Yeah. You've never had a wet taco before?
No.
Well, it depends on how much hot sauce you use, I guess. It depends on how wet it gets.
Should try it sometime. Now, it was obviously Cinco de Mayo this weekend, and as someone who really celebrates, the
Mexican heritage.
My Mexican heritage. I went to. They had a big taco festival at the waterfront park in Salem, which is the closest large town to me. Some friends invited me, and I showed up, and they weren't expecting the 1.5-inch rain we were getting that day. They had probably 3 pop-up shelters that were like 15 by 15. There was at least 50 taco trucks there. That's a low guess. There was likely more.
Wow.
It was wild. Like, I was dreaming about like just rolling in there and being like, I'm gonna have one taco from every truck, but it would have been a monumental. Like, I don't think I could have done it. Maybe over like 7 hours. But my wife was with me, so I had to act like a normal person and only eat like 8 tacos. So, yeah, it was a good time. We went and sat down under one of the shelters. There was this real nice older lady that started yelling about how she was saving all these seats under. She was saving like 7 seats. There's like 1,000 people there. She's like, yeah, I'm saving these. Them. I was like, yeah, okay. I don't think that's how it works. And I enjoyed my tacos. Nobody ever showed up for those seats. I don't know if it's like crazy or what. She's like, they're parking. They're going to be here any minute. I'm like, all right, well, we'll see.
They're parking?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
I had to park 2 blocks away. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, did that. And then I went and did some of the toy hauler shopping.
I got a taco question. So, at like usually when you get a taco truck or whatever, it's $10 to $15 because you get a plate of tacos. Were they doing were they selling like mini tacos or cheap tacos, or
it was pretty much all street tacos, I'm talking about, just little guys.
Yeah.
And I would say 90% of them they had priced at $3. And the most expensive one I saw was $6. But that was the only one. I seen a bunch at $4 or $4.50. But I would say well over half are $3. In fact, I bought like a package where I got like 6 taco tickets and 2 drink tickets, and I could use those on $3 tacos. And I never had wasn't an issue. But yeah,
I don't know if you know, but you can go to Jack in the Box. I think you get 2 for 99 cents.
No, I'm not going to knock on those tacos, but calling those grease things, those delicious little grease ball things, tacos is a stretch of the imagination. I realize they're taco-like, but
they are.
I even had an Indian taco. My wife likes Indian. Well, my wife likes fry bread, I should say, and they have an Indian place at 7-Eleven.
Okay.
But yeah, so I had an Indian taco. It wasn't bad, but they really, tacos not their jam. It was okay, but
yeah. AK Ford fan says taco adjacent.
It's yeah.
All right, tell us about the toy hauler shopping.
Oh, yeah, just went and looked at. Shouldn't really call them toy haulers. Looking at the Intech. Flyer.
Still at the small ones.
I got her to look at the bigger one, the one step up.
Okay.
That would be like, I could tow it with my FJ, but it'd be pushing it as a double axle. But
I feel like you should just look at some crawler hauler size stuff that you'd have to tow with your big truck. That would fit your FJ. Just like see if there's anything in the price range, see if it might get you close, see if it's only a few thousand more.
So to be clear, there's absolutely nothing in the price range. I was looking there. I think it's the Stealth Nomad makes like this awesome crawler hauler, front bedroom, extra stuff in the back. I could park the FJ in it. Like it's amazing. But I mean, it's $40,000, you know, like it's not cheap.
All right.
So,
okay.
But no, the bigger one I was looking at. So the smaller one, it doesn't have a toilet, just kitchen, stove, heater, fridge. And that's what we want, just so we don't have to mess with dumping water and all that. And I can do my business in the woods. But the next size up has like a toilet shower combo, which I like that size. But because it has the shower and stuff and a bigger fridge, the actual garage space of it is like 6 inches smaller than the next size down.
Really? You would think that?
Yeah. I'm going to write the company and be like, can I get the interior of the smaller one in the bigger one? And then I could actually, I doubt they will, but I'm going to try.
Yeah. All right.
So that's what I've been up to. Just fantasize, essentially eating tacos and fantasizing. What about you, Aaron?
I could just see you eating tacos and you're scrolling on your phone looking at.
Oh, I was looking at the real deal. I got absolutely drenched this weekend. It was raining at the RV place as well. Turned out it rained all weekend.
Yeah, it did. Well, for me, I took Friday off of work because, you know, nobody likes to work on Fridays. And I drove from my house past Ben's house to a memorial and then back home without even seeing Ben. So my aunt, who is 98, died finally. And
my condolences.
Yeah, she passed. It really was time. She's been like in a healthcare facility for like 9 years. So
I mean, I'm so sorry your aunt passed, but you got to pay any inheritance tax anytime this year? Or,
yeah, I wish. Not that I know of. Not that I know of. I know that the will. I know the will was. I know the will was read, and nobody reached out to me. I did get to come home with a painting that she painted, which is kind of cool. It actually I should go grab it while Ben's talking, but it reminds me of where we explored down in Nevada. You'll see when I bring the painting in. So she was big on art. So, yeah. So drove up there, didn't see Ben, drove home. So that was cool. I try to never see Ben when I go up there.
You at least text me and you were like, what was it? Was it a location on your map, or no? It was a picture of the sign
of the freeway signs. Yeah, for Ben's exit.
Whip in and take a picture of your vehicle in front of his house and leave.
No.
It would have been good timing because I was at work when he was driving by.
You have to be a massive butthead to do that.
Yeah, big jerk.
That one was just for you, Chase. I took a CPR class Saturday. So Saturday I drove south. I was actually next door to Coy's house. I didn't stop and see him either. I was down in Salem for a CPR class. Quick fun story about the CPR class. 2 hours into the 4-hour class, I looked over and I saw this kid starting to pass out, and I jumped up and went and grabbed him and lowered him to the ground right as he started having a seizure during the middle of our first aid CPR class. So that was cool. I got to call 911.
After that was over, we were like, hey, professor or whatever the teacher's called.
She should have just let me go.
Hit me with the card now, or do you want me to jump up?
She should have let me go, because like I jumped up, I pointed at the teacher and I said, hey, and then I pointed at the kid I was running over. And then the next thing was, I think he's having a seizure. Let's take him to the ground. I put him on the ground. And then I grabbed my phone. I pulled up Google Maps for our location, and she's like, why don't you call 911? I call 911, put it on speakerphone. She's the one who wants to do the talking. So I show her my phone so she can read the address of the location that we're at. Like, I was on it, but I still had to sit there for 2 more hours. Yeah.
To be told the time to call 911.
What's that?
To be told most of the time to call 911. My last CPR class, it was like, call 911, call 911. Like, come on. Like,
You really got to get your safety guy at work to get certified and then teach it, because then the class lasts about 23 minutes on the long side.
be
That's a lot of
that'd be a-
interruptions and stuff.
That would be amazing if it was. No, they didn't cancel the class. The ambulance shows up. They checked him out. He said he did not want to go to the hospital, so he stayed in the class for the rest of the time. And then someone picked him up instead of him driving home, though. So, which I was thankful for. He said it was his first time ever having a seizure.
And he didn't go to the hospital?
No, You'd think you would when it's your first time having a seizure.
It wasn't his first time having a seizure. He has to say that so they don't take his driver's license. That's not, you don't have a seizure and be like, that was weird. Interesting. No. So bro doesn't want to lose his driver's license. That's
a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I doubt that he's got that figured out. He was only an 18-year-old kid. I don't think he's thought that process through enough. Besides that, so that was Saturday. Sunday, I actually did some off-road stuff. I got the brakes all put together on my Frontier on the whole back. I still have to bleed them, but they are all put back together, assembled. Everything's torqued, just ready to bleed. I realized I couldn't remember what brake fluid I used in it the last time, and I want to make sure I put the right stuff in. So after work today, I was supposed to go figure that out, and I realized as I'm talking right now, I didn't do that. So now I got to do that tomorrow after work. And then I'd got some painting done on my off-road trailer. You can see the black is now gloss black, and I had plenty of paint after I was done painting all the normal stuff. So I painted the bed liner material inside of it, and it came out pretty sharp. And then I also painted the tops that gray color. So all I have left to do is the green, which is going to be the hardest part, and then whatever touch up I need to do. And then I'm going to also paint the rack. I bought some spray paint so I can spray inside the wheel wells. It's going to look super fresh. I'm excited about it.
What's the date on those tires there, Aaron?
Oh, they're probably 10-year-old tires. No, they're only 8-year-old. They're 8-year-old tires.
Okay, Ben.
Those are my original. They're my original KM2s.
You got a spare? Actually, or are you gonna rip that through the North Dakota heat on?
No. See, you could in this picture you can see the spare leaning up in the back corner, not in that stack of tires. These actually may be my KM3s, which would only be like 4 or 5 years old, so they're not that old. Montana Dirt Road says, "Why do you need a trailer?" Well, on top of the trailer,
his truck is so amazing off road. He actually takes the trailer to make it more challenging for him. It's not a space thing. It's just he's just trying to make it harder at this point. He's overbuilt.
I have a rooftop tent that goes on top of that trailer, and with a family of 4 plus a dog, we use the trailer for all of our sleeping quarters. Chuck says that men don't bring spares. I must not be a man because I always have a spare tire. In fact, I made sure that the lug pattern when I built that trailer was the same as my Frontier, so that the trailer tire could be used on the Frontier, or the Frontier spare could go on the trailer if I had some massive issues. I've got spares to go all the way around.
Don't you wish
same size and everything?
Made that Toyota lug pattern in hindsight?
Well, here's the fun story. You cannot buy a trailer axle in the Nissan lug pattern, so it is a Toyota pattern underneath with a wheel adapter. So how about that? How about them apples?
That's awesome till you can't get your wheel adapter off, but I like it.
Well, I would have to like if I was going to match my current setup, I would just get rid of those wheel adapters and either put wheel spacers on, because I think they're 2-inch spacers as well as wheel adapters. Otherwise the tires are going to be sucked in too far. Yeah, that's what I've been up to. Ben, you're chilling out?
I'm just chilling out. I got the fridge finally. It showed up. It's right behind me.
Oh, is that what that is?
That's what that is. It works.
It's got little wheels. I've never seen a fridge with wheels.
Yeah, it's pretty pointless to me. I've fallen down the rabbit hole. I'm actually looking for a tray for it. I've found some on Facebook Marketplace. I figure it's the majority of the time it's gonna be in the Forerunner for like when I do the long way home. The plan is to have that and all. And when we go camping, I'm gonna just load it up in the back of the Forerunner. So why not just have a tray for it? So I'm not fighting getting in it and looking around.
Your tray's going to cost more than that fridge. They're so expensive.
I found there was
It's going to cost more than the Forerunner.
There's actually an Iron Man tray down in Washougal for $150.
There's a ton of Iron Man trays in Tualatin. That's where we're
at their store. Yeah.
At the showroom.
But I've fooled around with that, and I've decided to build my drawers like yesterday. So
I wouldn't buy a tray until you run the fridge for a while, see how you use it, see how it works without a tray.
I just want. I just figure for my Montana long way home trip, I'm going to use it. It's gonna be there.
The refrigerator.
Yeah, the refrigerator and my It's about the same size as my cooler. So
I think that the trays are super cool, Ben. But I've ran a cooler for many years, and I never was like, man, I wish this cooler was on some kind of $700 slide out. Would make so much. No, I just open the back, pull my cooler out.
I don't have as much headspace in the back as you do, though. That's my only problem.
I just pull it out. Like just leave yourself some extra cord. You just slide it out, set it on the edge of the bumper, grab what you need, put it back in, and we're trying
to save you some money that you can apply to new tires.
Yeah, the wife's probably gonna say the same thing. I was just looking to see if there's one for cheap local, because I keep seeing them pop up on Facebook Marketplace.
I think you should have Pete make you one. Like, he's a fabricator.
Probably could.
Man, that would probably be even cheaper.
Yeah, just gotta get it done. No, I'm not, Chuck. Not at all.
Yeah,
clearly not.
But first things first is I need to get my my drawers built, and I need to get my front shocks or coilovers on. So my son's birthday party's this weekend, and then I'm gonna dig into the Forerunner because the car is getting fixed on Saturday as well.
Are you getting tires put on your trip before your Montana run?
Well, I've got to get the front end of the whole rubbing issue fixed, which should be fixed with the coilovers.
Okay,
because I'll get that extra inch of lift.
Rubbing fixes itself eventually. What tire are you gonna get?
That's why he needs new tires.
I'm probably just gonna get 2 new Milestar Patagonias.
Patties.
Just all I need is 2 of them. So my rears are really good health, tread, and all that. So I was like, well, I'll just rotate the rears to the front and throw 2 new ones on the back.
Boring.
I know. Money's money right now. And
like new tires, they smell. They have that smell. They gloss, shine in the light. You just get 2 new ones. It's not the same. You gotta get 4 new tires. No, there's nothing that feels quite as good as new tires.
I agree.
Let's just be happy he's getting 2 new tires.
Yes. Because
I know. I also need to say this so when something happens later, I can remember when I was saying you should get 4 new tires, and then I can knock them. Like when I'm like, "Hey, your tie rods," they're like, "Seems like they move a little bit." And he's like, "Yeah, I just replaced them." I'm like, "Oh, there's a lot of movement," and then they go out middle of a trip.
No, I'm not gonna make it down there. I've got I've got work. So
Actually, Chuck says something here. I'll make you a good deal on a set of 38 1450s. Ben, yes,
Do it. Pull that
Oh,
trigger.
That's a
Do it
whole
now.
lot of Sawzall action right there.
Pull the trigger. Yeah. Just do it.
Yeah, no thanks.
he has a cutting torch, and I bet he has a crescent wrench as well. And through Jesus, anything is possible. So you can do it.
Yeah. What about you, Mark?
Man, just got back from Jeep Beach. So, I am a Jeeper. So that was a little big thing. And honestly, since Jeep Beach, it's all planning for leaving to the Dominican to get married next Wednesday.
Whoa.
How many ducks did you get?
I got to admit, man, I'm not the duck guy.
That's good.
That's
when I
good.
get the ducks, I give them to the kids that come by the shop. So
There you go.
That's
So-
a good solution.
Are you getting married in Dominican because technically it's not a legal marriage, so that way you can bail later if you have to?
I am marrying a Puerto Rican from Brooklyn in Florida before we go to the DR.
Oh, I see.
I've heard that like there's some countries that you can get married in, and then down the road, if you want to divorce them, that you don't have to notify them that you divorced them.
Haven't looked into that.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure eventually you have to notify them. I mean, you have to at least tell them you're going for milk or something. So
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what's been recent for me.
So Ben did ask, did you get any ducks at the Jeep Beach?
Yeah, mainly from like the different sponsors. Maxxis had a real cool one that had like a headset. There's a real big one. A lot of the manufacturers now are doing that. So
Okay.
just talking to guys, got a couple, but those are the ones I bring back, like I said. And when the kids come by the shop, I'm a Hot Wheel Matchbox collector too. So I usually
nice.
get a lot of the Jeeps. I more use the Hot Wheels to give out to the kids, but when I get the ducks, I give those out too.
Perfect. That's good.
That's what Toyota guys were patches for the longest. Well, everyone was patches for the longest time, and
I just
seems
saw something.
ducks became the thing.
I just saw something that now the Subaru guys have these 3D printed clips that you clip on the door handle, and
I
it's
saw
a
that too.
cow, and you get mooed. It's Moo Moo Subaru. I'm gagging just saying that out loud. I feel really gross now. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to go take a shower.
You know what? I think we should print a bunch of those, and the next time we see Andy, just like clip them all along his door
The
handle,
entire door handle,
the entire door handle.
clip them everywhere.
I mean,
think
it's gotten so bad down here that, man, every company you could think of is milking this duck stuff. You got Outback
Really?
Steakhouses making ducks, trying to get a Jeep night. You
Wow.
got Chick-fil-A is doing Chick-fil-A ones. We've got them down here in the Southeast. I actually did an event recently for my business, the Jeep Lab, where we actually teamed up at a big country bar that's down here, and Crown Royal was the sponsor. So I wish I had one, but it's an actual 3D printed duck with a Dallas Bull belt buckle, country belt buckle on it, a Crown Royal bottle on its hip, and it came in a Crown Royal bottle signed off and approved by Crown Royal themselves to be able to do it. So that one was
Wow.
pretty cool. I'm doing a Rays game too. I host a lot of events, and then you can see this one here. The Rays actually printed this one for the baseball team here. So everybody's doing it, man. It's almost like you can't even get away from it. It's so much over here.
I didn't know that. I knew that the ducks were really popular, but I didn't know that it was getting commercial with them.
Oh yeah. So I host a lot of events with the shop, and like we did the Lightning too, and they did the same thing. They did a duck that in the sun turned from blue to white and had their logo on it. It's almost like a Pokemon, like you got to catch them all type thing. I mean, the event that I did, Crown Royal, didn't come until like 2 hours after it started, and people literally showed up to get a duck to go home. Like they didn't even want to hang out at the event. They were there to collect the duck and leave. And I'm like, what?
That's no good.
No.
You know how they have like Bigfoot hoaxes, and then get a bunch of people to believe it? I feel like we could do the same thing, but we do like a really sad thing about how like our dog choked on one of these ducks and died, and just post some really good looking golden retriever. Like get a golden retriever from some of the Subaru people, and then take some pictures of it with the duck in its mouth. Post about how it died, us crying and stuff. And I think we could get this shut down. Like we could get the duck thing gone.
What about you could do, if you're doing the Subaru guys, just get a baby cow.
Oh, one of those really fluffy little tiny ones about how the baby cow. That's
Yeah.
We could do both. We might pop one off on like each coast and really hit them each direction. Yeah, I like it. Just
Post
a
it
thought,
to
guys.
Reddit.
Something we could do, and then in 5 or 6 years, we'll be like, "Hey, we totally lied. Gotcha," you know. And
Got him. Yeah. All right, listener feedback, you guys. We haven't gotten any actual phone calls to our 605 spotter number recently. Only 3 spam calls now from the same phone number. So I'm not sure. Maybe we should call that live on the air. See what's going on.
I called that number.
Yeah. So call us, call that number 605 spotter, ask your questions, or if you just got back from doing a cool trip, tell us about your trip. We'll play it on the air. So I think you get like 3 minutes worth of talk time. So you'll have to make it quick if you're long-winded. But we did get an email from our buddy Dave over at Let's Go Hunt podcast. And it says, if money were no object, what engine would you swap into your project? You can choose gas or diesel. So thanks for letting us choose gas or diesel, Dave. You guys know what you want, or should I go first? Because I got one.
I've got one, but I'm like, why isn't electric on the list? Right? Come on, give it the times.
Because he said engine. He said engine, not motor.
Yeah, true enough. I like the R 2.8 liter diesel
The repower.
The
Yes.
repower.
Cummins repower. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's that whole crate engine, literally drop it in, figure out the cooling and cooling and fuel, and you're done. Like, that's nice.
Pretty much.
Are those still
How about you,
available?
Coy?
I'm near certain they are available still. They it's tough for me. I kind of need to know a project, but I mean, my number one, if money no object, I want one of those motors that run on water, but I don't want to get assassinated like immediately thereafter. So I want one of those water motors that everybody keeps inventing about every 10 years, and then they have a heart attack at a Denny's and are clutching at their throat, screaming, "I've been poisoned." That's the part I'm trying to avoid. So if no object with the money, I'm going to take one of those. But I think, honestly, I want one of those 4-cylinder LS motors, the half LS. I just think that'd be cool. I like the R28, but I want to be able to tell people that I just beat them with a half of an LS motor, especially if they have a full LS motor. It would be like the ultimate slam. Be like, I just did it with half of your motor. It would be fun. So I'm going to go with one of those 4-cylinder LS.
I was thinking about that repower motor, but it's just a 4-cylinder, right? And it's only got 161 horsepower and 307 foot-pounds of torque. That's not a lot. I've got more torque than that with my current engine, so it would be a huge downgrade.
That's stock boost, though.
Sure, but I just not sure that you could bump it up enough to make it worth it. So I know you're going to make a lot of torque down low. I can't not go to an LS swap. I know if money was no problem, you could just do whatever you want, but the LS is just so versatile, and it's a nice package size. You can just put it in anything. Like they put them in Miatas. So
You don't want a
not going to
Hellcat?
weigh a ton. No, I don't think so. It's not going to weigh a ton. You could make more horsepower than Hellcats can. You could turbocharge it. You could supercharge it. You throw NOS at it. What I would do is just whatever I could to make some good torque and call it a day. Because I'm not.
If you're looking for torque,
Saudi Arabia, I'm not in Saudi Arabia running the dunes. I don't need to get to the top of the dunes.
If you're looking for torque, Aaron, haven't you considered the Ford 7.3 Godzilla? They make that in a repower with a 10-speed auto trans. Like you just drop in and go.
Ooh.
That's
That's
a beast.
That's actually a great choice. My thought though is that thing probably weighs 65% more than an LS does.
I mean, yeah, but they put those in school buses. Like you could do some stuff with those, and you get a factory supercharger. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
I mean, Hellcats are good, but Godzilla, yeah.
I don't know. How about you, Mark? Have you ever wanted to do an engine swap on your Jeep?
Yeah, I've got a buggy right now I'm building, and I'm in the middle of trying to figure that out. But I mean, the repower would be probably the best, safest bet for me. But if money were no option, just because I don't see it that often, and I grew up in the 90s, I probably would do a Dodge Viper motor.
Oh, that's
V12.
a lot of fun.
Choice.
That's a lot of
Or
fun.
V10? Yeah, V10.
Yes, V10.
Yep.
Ooh, I got one more. Guys. If we're doing a Toyota swap, and I was trying to keep all Toyota in
Two
Japan,
round?
they made this. No. The Toyota Century, which was a limousine,
Century. Yeah,
which was
Century.
essentially two JZ, the turbo motor,
two JZs. Yeah.
two J's hooked together. In fact, to run the fuel and everything, they just literally use two JZ ECUs, one for each half of the motor.
Yeah.
V12, it would sound great and just be awesome in some, I don't know, FJ40 Land Cruiser or something.
That would be pretty cool.
The that Cummins is still available. It's $10,098.99.
That's not bad, because I think when it came out, it was only like 8,900. So
I was gonna say they've barely even gone up with inflation.
yeah.
V12s at Toyota does sound cool.
We also want to thank our sponsor, Patriot Patch. Head over to patriotpatch.co and check out their selection of great patches, shirts, cleaning mats, signs, and stickers. You can also join the Patch of the Month Club for $15 and receive a patch, matching sticker, and artist proof each month.
Did you boys get your patch?
Yep, mine came today. Freedom isn't free. There you go. You got it on the screen. I actually was able to use this as a good learning opportunity for my daughter. She came in specifically wanting to see the patch. She's like, what's your patch? And I showed her. She says, ooh, I like the angel wings. And I said, you know what it means by freedom isn't free. And so we got to talk about how people have given their life for our freedom.
Always a good teaching moment when you can.
Yeah.
And don't forget, we've got our patches, $13 shipped in the continental United States, $10 for any additional, and the Lumen Locker patch does glow in the dark. And those are actually made by Patriot Patch. I don't think we've said that enough. Shoot us a message through any of our channels, and we can hook you up with that PayPal link.
Have tire trouble?
Yep.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Pretty soon we're going to have ducks for sale as well.
Have tire troubles ever left you deflated? Colby Valve has got you covered. Ever have a valve stem leak? Colby Valve makes reusable and easily replaceable valve stems that don't require you to remove your tire from the wheel. They work with your off-road rig, ATV, side-by-side, commuter vehicle, or even your tractor. Never be left stranded again because of a busted valve stem. They also have a tire repair kit for those punctures that keep you away from doing your favorite thing, wheeling. Make sure to check out colbyvalve.com or ask for them at your local off-road products store.
Chase, that's 2 times we did that. The second one was just for you. I was gonna throw a warning out there, but if we made our own duck force, what I'm thinking we could do like that's a good one, yeah. The Aviators, Tom Cruise duck. What if we did one like, you know how when you go to a Chinese restaurant in movies, they wrap your duck up in the giant duck tinfoil? We have like a tinfoil rubber duck.
Ooh, that's
So
a
it's
good one.
It's cooked. I mean, I guess we could just take any rubber duck.
You
and
do it
just
like the
put
rubber.
tinfoil.
What if you do it like the rubber chickens, like how they're long and skinny, and they're like you could have it upside down, like it's hanging in a window.
I
All
want
red
mine
on
to
the
look
outside.
like the Dawn dish soap advertisement where it's a rubber duck covered in oil.
Whoa. Terrible.
I want to know,
Yeah.
like, it makes no sense. Why was this duck on the ocean where an oil spill was? It still has down. Like, I'm pretty sure that Dawn dipped that thing in oil for the advertisement and like tried to make like there's just that it doesn't make sense for a baby duck to be out at this oil spill. But never mind. Let's jump into the news, guys. Motor One Ram all but confirms a high horsepower pickup truck. So, as you all know, the Ram Rutro, the RHO, whatever we're calling it these days, is their new high horsepower truck. So Ram did launch a little short film to launch the RHO. And it wasn't a simple shoot with just a couple cameras in the desert. It featured several trucks, famous racing drivers, a Hollywood movie star, and Ram CEO Tim. Let's just say Tim. Showing Ram CEO Tim K. Showing off his awkward acting chops as the boss. It also featured a couple of dirt bikes, one which apparently had a hidden message about a future Ram truck with a whole lot of horsepower. Well, don't feel bad about missing it. The Easter egg in question is the dirt bike that doesn't have a number affixed to it. Meanwhile, the other bike wears 540, a nod to the 540 horse twin turbocharged i6 engine in the new RHO. As for the blank bike, it has a number intentionally left blank for the next Ram high horsepower vehicle with 3 letters. That's a quote from Jess Summers, the head of advertising for Ram, who shared a post on his LinkedIn explaining the video in detail, which I also like how just the head of marketing for Ram just blasted all this stuff about basically a new TRX, but it has been confirmed by no one else. Like, it seems like he's about to get fired to me. He's putting on his like personal LinkedIn page. I was like, this doesn't seem legit, but he's head of marketing, so I guess he can do what he wants.
I thought you were going to take that a different way. I thought you were going to say that he's the head of marketing and he did this crazy video and everything, but he still had to explain what the video meant by going on LinkedIn to explain to people what stuff meant.
I mean, that's true as well, but I feel like if you have to explain it, like, I don't know that Dodge wanted
You didn't do a good enough job that you have to explain your video.
I'm not sure what's going on, but although it's not a direct confirmation of the new TRX, it's clearly points to a future Ram with gobs of horsepower, presumably more than the Row. Ram has been non-committal on the subject up to this point, though the company has made it clear that the Row is not a TRX replacement. Tim stated that the TRX truck is on the shelf for a little while and said that it might be used in the future. Curiously, Tim says almost the exact same thing when asked about a future Dodge Challenger. In any case, something else is cooking at Ram, and Summer suggests that there are more hidden clues in the video. With that in mind, we replayed the clip while wearing our sleuthing hat and noticed a few things. A series of numbers occasionally show up on the lower right, looking like official military type stuff, but also looks like binary code. We ran it through some translators and didn't get anything, but knowing how much Dodge and Ram love to play with numbers, they could mean something. We also noticed the letters RC and a lightning bolt on a trailer carrying a camouflaged RHO. That could simply be the brand of car trailer, but perhaps it points to an electrified high-performance off-roader. Or maybe the grains of sand have certain shapes that indicate a new high-efficiency Hemi design. Where are our tinfoil hats?
It sounds like the Illuminati was involved with making this video.
You know, it must be fun to just make videos and then just be like, hey, guys, this didn't get near as many clicks as we like. So there's some secret stuff in here that points out some other secret stuff about something you really want. And then everybody's like, ooh, and watches it 75 times and really pushes the video. That's what it feels like to me.
That
just like,
be.
Here, let me make this post on my personal LinkedIn page to then get some more clicks, because then you'll want to look and rewatch it again.
Chase is suggesting that RHO stands for rheumatoid arthritis.
Arthritis.
Arthritis. Yeah.
Is that an old owl?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's exactly how you spell that, but we'll roll with that for a bit.
Yeah. Our next story here is you guys might have heard of this already. Earth Cruiser shut down. It's kaput. It's gone. Founded in 2008, the Oregon-based builder of overland rigs based on medium-duty pickups and box truck chassis posted a notice on its site on April 24th that it would be shutting down, and the following day, April 25th, with a finality that would end the vehicle production and vehicle servicing. The company wrote that the events of the past few years created changing market dynamics and economic challenges that made it increasingly difficult to sustain operations. Hence, and after careful consideration, in-depth strategic analysis, the company has made a decision to wind down operations in its current form.
That's a long-winded way to say we couldn't sell enough of these.
Yeah.
The company is best known for its EXP and FX lines based on the Isuzu NPR. The range expanded 3 years ago on a smaller Terra Nova Expedition camper for a chassis cab pickup initially built on the F550, an Australian-style camper. The Terra Nova offered the same benefits as the larger EXP and FX in more compact package. Most notably, the roof could be raised more for more headroom and lowered for better clearance. Last year, Earth Cruiser launched a custom camper outfit for the GMC Humvee EV and wore an even taller roof extension so liveaboards could stand in the Hummer's bed and sit in the camper bed without issues. One of the first owners put the rig up for auction on Bring a Trailer last month, of course, getting $150,000 for it. Earth Cruiser also recently got into creating off-road fire and rescue rigs for emergency services in the Pacific Northwest called the Commander Off-Road Equipment, CORE for short. They were made to get first responders deep into the thickly wooded backcountry. Founder and CIO Lance Grills says that the firm is working with professionals to accomplish orderly liquidation in accordance with state law, and that it will make further announcements in the future. Kind of sad to see him go.
Yeah, it's a bummer that a local company to us that makes some super cool rigs is shutting down.
Yeah, we had them on the podcast years and years and years ago.
Yeah, it's been a long time. One of the cool things about the rigs is that they're made to fit into a shipping container, so you can just load it in a container and ship it across the world. You can't do that with a lot of large expedition vehicles.
Yeah, Aaron's LMTV would not fit in a shipping container.
I don't think it would have.
It would have fit a shipping container on the back, maybe.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it could haul a shipping container. Yeah, it is a bummer that they're closing down. I never heard anything bad about their rigs, but they didn't seem to be as popular as Earth Roamer, the big bad boy ones with the yacht grade interiors and stuff like that.
Yep.
hey, Chase, I just want to let you know we're going to cut to main topic right now, so don't be surprised.
All right. Well, tonight we've got Mark Lawson on from the Florida Trail Team Challenge. And let's start this off with the Fast 5 facts, shall we? New or old vehicle?
Old vehicle.
Summer or winter camping?
Let's go winter.
Rock, sand, snow, or mud?
Hold up.
I
This guy
was gonna
lives in Florida. This guy lives in Florida, and we just ask him, and he says winter. What is winter camping to you?
Well, I gotta be honest. I got a lot of family that lives in Canada, so even though I am born and raised in Florida, I love it when it's cold out, man. I got enough heat down here. I work in my shop in the heat all day long, and I go visit family in Canada. I don't even wear a jacket because my body is emitting so much heat.
Do you have a heater in your shop?
No, absolutely not.
I have a friend that lives in Florida, and they had like, I think it was last Christmas, they had like a 32-degree cold snap. And he was like, a bunch of places shut down because they didn't have heat in their buildings. Like,
Oh, that's when it's comfy to work, man. And I love it.
Roxanne. Wait, we did that. Roxanne Storm Mud. You said rock.
Rock. Yep.
Favorite vehicle brand?
We're gonna go Jeep.
Go figure, right? Favorite
Yeah.
tire?
Ooh, recently I've been doing a lot of Mickey's off road, but a couple of my daily drivers are Nitos.
What Mickey tire are you going with?
The Baja Bosses.
And any recommendations to new anyone? Any recommendations to someone new to off roading?
Definitely be patient. And the first thing I tell even my customers is learn your rig. A lot of people get into the sport. They just see what's going on. They want to keep up with the Joneses. They just buy stuff. They don't even know what they're really buying or why they're buying it.
how did you get started in off-roading?
So actually, when I was younger, I joined a program called Civil Air Patrol. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that. It's like the auxiliary of the Air Force. They've got a youth program. Pretty much my 12 to in college, right before I joined the Air Force, I was pretty involved in it. And being that my grandfather was really big into the emergency services, that was kind of my first thing into off-roading was, hey, we're going out into the woods. We're looking for missing persons. We're looking for emergency locating transmitters. So you got to have the right rig. You got to have your 72-hour pack, your 24-hour pack.
Wait, so your guys' Civil Air Patrol also had like ground teams?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, it's crazy. Out here, Civil Air Patrol, like they just have airplanes. As far like I'm on a
Really?
local search and rescue team,
Yeah.
and Civil Air Patrol, like just airplanes, as far as I'm aware. I've never seen them in a vehicle.
Well, and the thing too is obviously as a cadet, when you're younger, you can't be flying the plane. That's more of the adult thing. So there's actually national schools that CAP offers that I went to. Hawk Mountain Ranger School in Pennsylvania, National Emergency Services Academy in Indiana. So I was going to that stuff as a young kid, teenager. So we were the guys on the ground while most of the time the adults were up in the air, but we'd have adult chaperones. So
Awesome.
So yeah, being out in the woods, getting me off-roading. And then my dad's a good old redneck from Florida where we had hunting camps and fishing camps. So we had old Chevy C10s with flatbeds for deer hunting and all that stuff too. So
Nice. What was the first vehicle that you took off-road?
probably would have been my Uncle Bill was a Bronco guy turned Toyota guy. So the old OJ Simpson Broncos, the little Bronco 2s, and then he got into the Tacoma 4Runner stuff in the late 90s.
Okay.
What's your favorite rig to hit the trail in?
Currently, I'm a diehard Jeep guy. So I'm going to go with a Jeep TJ Wrangler, so 97 to 06. And that's my current project right now. I took my 97, cut it in half, and I'm building a buggy on some Super Duties with some ORIs and Atlas on probably 43s. So
Awesome. What is your most embarrassing moment on the trail? That one that you think about at night sometimes and be like, man, wish I hadn't have done that.
well, it was a pretty close one. I got two. Let me back up. My first vehicle was a Jeep Wrangler. Was actually going camping with Civil Air Patrol as a cadet. Loaded up my Wrangler, unbolted my hardtop because it's Florida. Take the top off, and was like, you know what? Let me just check the weather before I hit the trail for the weekend. And it said some rain was in the forecast, so didn't really think much about it. I'll just leave the top on. Got going down the interstate. Realized that I didn't bolt the top back down. And on I-75, started to hear the wind coming from the lip on the hardtop, and my hardtop flew off. When it flew off, I kind of turned back to look and see. As I did that, I turned the steering wheel, went off the interstate. The grass was wet, tried to correct, but with a 6-inch lift in a CJ7, my wheels went like this, and I flipped actually 8 times.
Whoa.
And walked away from it because I had my safety belt on. My back seat came out. The body was jammed. I landed it right side up, thank God. But yeah, that was kind of embarrassing. I still tell that story today. It's just something little, man. But
Like
got lucky.
Full on Ace Ventura, kitty bang bang move.
And I couldn't get in anything that wasn't scraping the ground for a couple years until I bought my TJ in 08.
Hmm.
Yep.
Chase Pettyjohn asks, what's your favorite way to carry gear on your back? Assuming he's still talking about the search and rescue type stuff.
Backpacks, yeah.
I mean, I'm a backpack guy. Every one of these is loaded with something, but I actually daily drive a Jeep Gladiator. And I don't want to say I'm not the overland guy, I'm more of like the prepper type deal. Obviously in Florida, we got hurricanes. So you get very short notice to get your family, get your kids, get your animals, and get out of town and get out of Dodge. So I guess that's kind of more my background of prepping. So yeah, I usually do have everything loaded, kind of ready to go at least for a couple days.
You mentioned you might have a second embarrassing story.
Yeah. So in my early days of actually off-roading, we got, in Florida, there's mud. I'm not a fan of mud. Sometimes you got to go through it. A gentleman was like, hey man, we got stuck in one of my JKUs I used to have. And he's like, hey, I'll hook you up and pull you out. And I just thought, all right, he's going to just kind of slow maneuver it. Well, thank God he had 2 recovery points on his rear bumper. So we actually did like a tree saver to that. And then we attached the line to that. And I thought he was just kind of go. Next thing I know, he punched it on not a kinetic rope. So obviously not supposed to be punching it. And one of the welds broke. And because we did the tree saver, it only swung around instead of coming straight back at us.
Yikes.
I had that tinfoil taste in my mouth and my molars when you just, ooh, it hurt.
I mean, and you can't duck quick enough. I mean, I ducked, but if it really wouldn't have been for having 2 points of contact on the back of his bumper, and again, we didn't communicate clearly. That was not what I knew was the right way to approach the situation. However, I didn't make sure he was on the same page. And that could have been really bad. And I mean, you hear the dink, and it's about nothing you can do to go down as fast as you can.
No, it's coming at your head at 450 miles an hour.
Yeah. And I use that as an example a lot when I'm working with people in the off-road industry.
On kinetic straps. Oh,
yeah.
Our buddy Josh is a diehard Nissan guy, and he's giving you some Jeep love here. He says that I see a theme. All these issues start with a Jeep. Oh boy. All right. So let's hear about a big win that you've had on the trail.
Man, I gotta count my blessings to just say everybody getting home healthy and safe. It seems like there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stupidity going on, man. And I really enjoy, as we'll get into like the Trail Team Challenge stuff, just being someone that, can be helpful, someone that can be informative, someone that, can be a quality, good leader, not a peer pressure out on the trail. So man, just getting everybody back home safe and sound is always a big win for me and my group that I go out with.
Where's your favorite place to go wheeling?
I've been fortunate to get out a lot, man. And I got to say that Roush Creek, Pennsylvania, so far was kind of my most fun spot I've had. And I think it really came down to the variety. Have any of you guys ever been to Roush Creek before?
No, but I've heard a lot of good things.
Yeah. So, I mean, like there's a part of it's like a quarry, there's some slippery rock stuff, kind of like what we have here in the Southeast, out in Tennessee and whatnot. I think it's called Devil's Den, which is kind of like a single little trail that comes down to the bottom and you get to it and it's just a V of just massive boulders. And it's like, all right, pick your line, go. I mean, I could have stayed there all day long. And that right there just kind of shows some driver skill, some, familiarity with your rig and knowing what you can do. So man, I just really enjoyed Roush Creek. And as soon as this buggy is done, that's the first place I'm going back to, over Moab, over Disney, Oklahoma, over Windrock, a bunch of those places.
It seems like Roush Creek is like the Moab of the East Coast. It's the destination to go that's close but challenging.
Yeah, and they have another park. I always mess it up. I was just talking to a guy from up there. It's like Anthrite Off-Road Adventure, I believe. And it's literally right around the corner from Roush Creek. So those two, a lot of people who go to one go to the other and vice versa. I was only up there a couple of days, so I spent so much time in Roush Creek. I didn't get to go to that one, but I will definitely be up there for a week, if not 2, when this buggy gets done.
Leroy says AOAA.
There it is. Thank you, Leroy.
That's the noise you make when you snap an axle there. Any places you want to go that you haven't got to go yet?
Yeah, man. I probably furthest from Alaska, but I would love nothing better than to just put all my gear in the rig and then just hit the road for a couple of days and just really take it in. So was in the Air Force for a little while, so I got to see, some land, some North Dakota, whatnot. But man, again, being in Florida in this heat 24/7, I try to go polar opposite, let's say, and get out in some cold weather and just change up the scenery.
Yeah.
See if the mosquitoes are bigger there or in Florida.
Yeah.
I'd love to make a trip up there too. But I feel like to do it right, you'd have to spend at least 2 weeks in Alaska, not including driving up and back. I feel like you'd really have to spend a bunch of time up there.
It's on my short list, but my main hang up is I want to drive to the Arctic Ocean. Like, I don't need to put my tires in it, but I need to be able to say I drove to the Arctic Ocean. And it's like you can get like 10 miles from it or something, and then it's private roads. And I'm like, come on, like this is what everybody that drives the Dead Horse is trying to do, right?
Yeah.
You could do that with a rental car though, right? You don't even have to take your wheeler up there. You fly, do a destination wheeling trip with a rental car, drive on the ice roads.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Maybe you should what about a winter job, Coy? What if you get a transfer up to Alaska and do some of that ice road trucking?
My sister actually lives in Alaska, and she told me that if I buy like any diesel truck here for a decent price and drive it to Alaska, I can make $3-4 grand easy, like because they need them up there. And then they also own a trailer business, so they're like, "Hey, we'll hook you up, load up a bunch of trailers, drive that up here. We'll pay you for the trailers, and the delivery, and then you could sell the truck." But then I kind of don't have anything to drive while I'm up there unless I want to drive a diesel truck around. But yeah, no, I have thoughts about it.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the big reason why we got you on here. Let's talk about Florida Trail Team Challenge. So what is it?
So and what I'm going to say is I'm going to call it Trail Team Challenge. We're kind of dropping the word Florida. Unfortunately, people think that it's only for people in Florida and that it's always going to be in Florida. So the Trail Team Challenge is basically an off-road multi-day endurance race. It's really based around, say, Aaron, me and you hit the trails for a couple days and we're in the backwoods, right? We're staying off the interstate. We're staying off the highway. We're going to sit down. We're going to map out the trail we're going to go on. We're going to discuss, all right, what do we need to bring in the rig in case we break something? What recovery gear do we need? What food do we need? And let's go enjoy that time out in the wilderness. And, unfortunately stuff happens, right? You get a flat tire, you might break a U-joint on a trail, you might be off-roading and you might run into someone who is injured and unfortunately is out by themselves and needs some first aid. And what we do through the challenge is actually kind of replicate that with over 45 different challenges throughout those days.
Wow.
And just like a wheeling trip, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know when it's going to happen. You just got to make the best, and you either get back on the trail, go home, you're either able to help or you're not. So we give all the challengers multiple sets of coordinates. When they get to a set of coordinates, they're then read a script. And within that, there's usually there's 7 different categories. So like precision driving, there's marksmanship, which we'll get into a little bit. There is first aid. There's survival stuff going on. So let's see, mechanical is in there as well, and some recovery stuff as well. So pretty much anything that you could potentially run into on a multi-day, off-roading excursion is kind of the scenarios, aka challenges that we're going to throw at you and see how well you do them.
I didn't put this in the questions, but I kind of just now thought of this. Since you're a search and rescue guy, do you really throw the navigation at them? Like you're like, give them some coordinates in UTM, and we go degrees, minutes, seconds over here. Oh, by the way, this one's in a different datum. Like
No,
you can with people.
Even in my military stuff, man, we could really, but we do try to keep it very simple. We do try to keep it very general so that it is open more to the masses. And we're really not trying to make anybody have to go out and, relearn a bunch of stuff. So we are trying to use some more common sense, commonly used things. Like even when it comes down to the apps that are out there these days with navigation, we're not saying, hey, you have to use OnX or you have to use Gaia Maps or whatever it may be. Whatever you're familiar with, you're going to get latitude and longitude coordinates to find the challenges. And then once you get to a challenge, you may have to bust out the compass and count your paces.
Nice.
So
how long does, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
How long does it take to complete?
So it's 3 days. So basically you check in on Friday. You're going to compete on Friday. You have all day Saturday, and then you have about a half a day on Sunday to do the challenges.
How many challenges are there, and kind of what are they?
So there's over 45. So basically we break it up into kind of different time blocks, like a Friday PM, Saturday AM, Saturday PM. And then we give them that sheet of 15 to 20 coordinates per. So 45, sometimes 60, just depends on, again, how many rigs too. It's 20 teams maximum. So we want to make sure that there's plenty of challenges to be going on while everyone's competing and no one's kind of backed up, not able to do anything. And again, they're over those 7 different areas: first aid, navigation, marksmanship, recovery, mechanical, survival, and precision driving. So could be, anything on the scope. We could come up to a mechanical challenge. For example, in the past, there was a rig that was, hey, I was driving my rig, it completely shut off. I'm not getting anything, trying to turn the key, and they had to diagnose the vehicle. Turns out it was a ground had broke, right? So put the ground on, boom, vehicle started right back up. Cool. You got your points. How fast did they do it? Keep going. Another mechanical one in the past was, hey, your drive shaft just blew out. Your U-joint is toast. Do you know how to replace the U-joint in your drive shaft? Now, we're not making them take apart their vehicle. So we're, here's a drive shaft, here's a U-joint, go ahead and see what you can do with it. And then we're going from there. We're not puncturing sidewalls on tires and saying, oh, here's a patch kit, go fix it, have fun this weekend. We'll give them a tire, we'll give them a glue tread kit, or, whatever the sponsor we're tying into that challenge. And
I'd love to be the guy that just jumps out of the bushes with a hunting knife and sidewalls one tire and be like, all right, fix it.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Welcome to Florida.
The Florida man stuff, but the volunteers do really enjoy themselves, especially I'll shout out one of our volunteers, my dad. He's got he bought a Jeep for $1,000 and he built it up, and we're always jabbing with him. So we use him as a sacrificial Jeep that is busted, broke down, needs help. So now when he shows up at Jeep events around, everybody cringes like, oh God, there's Iggy. What's wrong with him today? So
$1,000 Jeep.
Yeah.
XJ?
No, it's a Wrangler. It was a Wrangler.
What?
Yeah, we got when we're in there, man. We find these Jeeps pretty good. We know we're not wasting our money. We're not paying $20,000 for a 20-year-old Jeep.
Is it possible to skip any of these challenges? Is there like do you got to do them all, or you didn't finish, or is there like a time you add or anything if you miss one?
So in the past, I will say this: the teams that are competing in this are giving it their all. They're really not showing up going, no, I don't want to do this. They're showing up going, maybe I haven't done this. We'll try to figure it out. Or let's do this. We just work through it type deal. And again, that's the kind of, atmosphere we're really trying to create. Is same thing. If you're on a trail in Windrock for 8 hours and you're halfway through it, you don't get to just go, oh, I don't want to do this. This isn't going to, I don't know what to do. You're at least going to try to Google it or call for help or teamwork with someone else in the group and figure it out and keep going. And we see that in the challenges, that it's very similar with these people that are competing, the men and the women that are competing. Not really anybody is just saying, no, I'm not going to do this. It's kind of.
I meant more like, obviously there's an end to this event, and I'm sure there's people that get to the end and they haven't completed everything. So
so not one team has been able to complete in every block every single challenge. So there's always stuff going on. If they do show up to a challenge and they do say no, which again is not something we've run into, they will lose negative points. However, if they get in that day and they want to come back and compete and they at least attempt it, they'll get rid of the negative points on that.
Gotcha.
But we also, with those challenges, the reason why we do the coordinates is, there's been other events in the past, and I'll give credit where credit's due. I was actually a competitor myself in the 36 hours of Uwharrie in North Carolina. And when I did that event, they actually gave us like a handbook. And I remember hearing people pick and choose what was easier and what wasn't. I didn't like that at all, because again, my whole thing, I'm trying to simulate real life experiences. Like, you don't get to pick and choose on the trail when you blow a sidewall or when a U-joint decides to leave the chat. So that's why I've kind of done it my way. Don't know why the 36 hours Uwharrie isn't around anymore. I really enjoyed the event myself. I think it went on for 3 years. A couple of big names like Casey Curry won it the first year. Orrin Anderson, who races with Bryce Menzies now in the trophy truck, won it the second and third year. He runs track and trail off-road in Ormond Beach. So some big names were there. But it took a couple of years off, and I was like, man, nobody else is going to do this. I really like it. Let's run with it and see what we can do, make it a little bit better.
So Coy and I are putting some money together. We're going to sponsor Ben. We're going to get Ben sent out there with his 4Runner. I want to just check to see what kind of requirements are needed for Ben to compete in the Trail Teams Challenge.
Okay. So Ben, I want to say thank you because we need Toyotas. Being that I'm a big Jeep guy, man. Well, it's Coy and Aaron. Thank you. But yeah, because I'm a Jeep guy, I do have a lot of connections, and it seems like even people that I don't know end up being Jeepers come in, and we're really trying for the Toyota guys, the FJ guys, the Bronco guys. But we're basically open to any mid-size vehicle. So we're not trying to do the 250s or the 2500 Rams. I've gotten some questions about that. If I could fill up my current category, I would love to have a side-by-side category. I'd love to have a full-size truck category, but I'm focused on this and growing this at the moment. So pretty much any mid-size vehicle does have to be 4-wheel drive. It does have to be licensed and currently insured. Because again, the mindset is that we're going from, say, Southern Florida to Northern Florida. We are on the road. We are street legal. This isn't the Bounty Hill competition. This isn't Ultra 4 out at King of Hammers. That is not what this is. This is the Trail Team Challenge. So we are doing no more than 40-inch tires. We do have a Gladiator this year. I know the Gladies are kind of getting bigger in the tire sizes, but with the precision driving and stuff, we really have to keep it, similar width, similar length to keep it competitive for everybody. But that's really it. DOT approved and taken care of. And then we do have like a minimum equipment list. And again, we say that's a minimum because you can bring whatever you want to bring or think you need to bring, or whatever you would bring on a normal trail ride with your group, your club, your family, and whatnot. So that's really it. We try to keep it pretty simple for, the requirements.
Do you have a minimum size, like tire size or anything?
Nope. No minimums.
Or I guess it is pretty flat, huh?
Have you ever had somebody show up and you're like, look, man, this Jeep with Dana 80s and race cut boggers don't feel like it's street legal? Like, have you ever had that situation where, like, look, you put a plate on your buggy? No.
I have not. I did have a pretty big TJ the first year, and he was pushing the limit. Some good old boys down in Fort Myers that frequented the mud hole. But they showed up. It is what it is. And we actually do a pretty good job of creating some communication before the event. So typically a couple months out, we put all the challengers in a Facebook group. We're talking to them, just getting them in the mindset of, hey, this is really what this is, guys. Don't come in and your tube chassis LS swap buggy ready to race around this off-road property. If you show up, you're going to be highly disappointed. And even with the challenges that we do, you're spending just as much time outside of the vehicle as you are inside of the vehicle. So I've even had some people, oh, my rig isn't the baddest. It's not the biggest. I don't have the most stuff. And it's like, but if you're doing marksmanship, if you're doing survival, if you're doing mechanical, you're probably on the outside working, if you're doing first aid. So don't just be intimidated by, you don't have the biggest, baddest rig, or, you do have a rig that's way overblown. You don't even need that.
Coy, we need to also reach out to Chuck Holt and see if maybe he'll give us a deal on those 38s for Ben.
Definitely. How do you score everything? Is it a time? Each challenge is you go on time, or?
Yeah. So a lot of it is time, obviously, like marksmanship, there's a point system. But typically it's timed and it's tiered. So, first place will get X amount, second place will get a little less, third, fourth, and so on down to the bottom. And that helps with tie breaking and stuff. So not everybody's completing a challenge and everybody's getting 50 points on it or whatnot. So it is specific to the challenge, but for the most part, it is all time stuff.
So Aaron's afraid of guns. You keep talking about the marksmanship challenge.
Deathly afraid.
Deathly afraid of guns. And so could he still compete with
No, we're doing tank shooting and 50 cal Barrett stuff, so probably not.
Oh my goodness, that would be amazing.
No, actually, so we were at the park where we're hosting it this past weekend just to help get some information out. And there was a guy there, and he had a 2-door XJ, and it said Tank America on the side. And he's like, I've been wanting to sign up. I just don't think I have enough room in my rig. And I'm like, well, what? First of all, tell me what this Tank America is. He's like, oh, I'm in Orlando. People come to me and rent my tanks, and we drive around the property and run out. I'm like,
Nice.
okay.
trails there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm like, so you want to bring a tank out for the event? He's like, no, I wish I could, but no. Yeah, it was a little interesting.
Do I have to have on the off-road vehicle that I bring? Do I have to already have a hole cut in the roof for the machine gun to be mounted into it, or do we mount it in the bed of my pickup truck?
So we provide all the guns, so you don't have to actually have the whole pre-cut. We'll have that retrofitted for you on the site. But in the past, we have done pistol shooting, different calibers. We've done AR shooting in it. Have you guys ever seen that show Forged in Fire before?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So one of our volunteers was on that show. He actually last year, because we do try to change the challenges every year as much as we can. But he actually handmade throwing knives and throwing axes. And so we kind of considered that as a part of the marksmanship. And then the winners actually got a pair of custom made knives from him.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I bet you could get more Toyotas to come if you let them know that they got some more points for having like a gun mounted on their vehicle. Cause I mean, you can just watch the news. There are so many Toyotas.
Is that the Hiluxes on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They gotta have a U.S. passport to compete. Do I have to put that in the rules too?
Regime
Probably
change on
should.
the
Probably should.
There's plenty of
Can
them.
you swim from Florida to Guantanamo? Like, what's the distance?
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, so the shooting, it is an interesting subject. Not everybody has shot before. It is pretty simple. We're doing some iron sight stuff, but again, we try to change it up. Who knows? There could be, archery one year. There could be skeet shooting one year. We do just try to change it up. And we do have some good, certified, range masters that are there as far as safety goes, wearing PPE, eye protection, and keeping it very, very serious and regulated for the shooting stuff.
I would have a dime in my hand and just one turn on whatever sighting as soon as I got done.
You change the scope on the gun right as you walk away.
It's left hard. Oh, it's weird. It's perfect for me.
I didn't even think of that. I'll put that in the rules.
First thing I do in any competition is read the rule book and see where I could take advantage of the rules.
So it's funny you say that because the team that won last year did exactly that. They had never competed before. They were very good at researching the previous year's events, right? Which is something you're going to do on the trails, before. Anytime when I went to Roush Creek, for example, they've got a group where you can go join it if you're not local, and then you can get some people together who are there, and hopefully, someone is from the area and they'll take you out on the trail. So, the team that won last year prepared. They did their research. They looked and they studied as much as they could. They saw some land anchor stuff, and they're like, well, we're not going to go buy a $700 pull pal. We'll make our own. So they actually made a land anchor, which they used in a couple of their challenges for themselves. So yeah.
A lot of people call it cheating. I just like to call it unfair advantage, which makes it not cheating. And
yeah. Well, thanks to that team. Thanks to that team and them showing up with a couple things that they probably shouldn't have. We've made some rule changes. So we actually have them. They can come to the property, if they're trailering their rig in, because they're coming from, we got a team coming from Georgia. We had a team from Virginia last year. We potentially have a team coming from Iowa right now. So we'll have an area where they can, offload their trailers, get their rigs, get together, but they will be checking in offsite. So they do have to have their tag, have their registration, their license, because they will be, going through town to do a couple things and getting back to the property that weekend.
So how have the challenges changed from year to year?
We've changed properties, so that's probably the biggest, thing. The terrain has been different, and again, that's kind of going back to the beginning where I said getting rid of the name Florida, because I don't know why, but people just see Florida and they think that it's only open to people in Florida. But maybe next year there's a park called River Rock in Georgia. It's privately owned. We really enjoy it because it's somewhat close to home. So maybe we'll move it to Georgia next year. We also have a group of former competitors that I've kind of tapped into their off-roading knowledge and skill set and ideas to come up with new ideas. And then a big thing that, we all know is about sponsorships. Companies like Colby Valve that you talked about, sponsors the show. We could take a sponsor like Colby Valve that maybe we haven't had in the past and do hey guys, you just sheared off your valve stem. Here's a new challenge, right? A company like Glue Tread is new to us this year. Hey, guess what? You've got a sidewall puncture. How are you going to fix it? So, being a sponsor isn't cutting a check, right? No one really does that anymore. But some product donations for us to feature into the challenges helps us come up with new challenges every year. High Lift has been a sponsor in the past. Some people are for High Lift, against High Lift, whatever. There's other options, other tools you can add to your High Lift. So we've done some stuff with them. And yeah, really, I mean, any off-road industry company we can turn into a challenge that would be practical for you being off-road and out in the woods for a couple of days.
So you said Glue Tread's a sponsor?
They are. Yep. This is their first year. So Amy with Glue Tread, we sat down and talked, and she's like, yeah, this it's right up our alley. And the big thing that the event is, like, the disadvantage for our event is it is not spectator friendly. You are out and about and you are spread out. There are challenges all over the place for multiple days. And I can't have people clogging the trails up, blocking the teams from getting and being as efficient as they want to. So we heavily rely on the social media aspect. So even when we're talking about these partnerships, I more like to call them with the companies, is, it's got to be a win-win for everybody, right? So us being able to have a really good media team, videos, photographers, drones, to get and highlight the products in these challenges, to give the companies back some content and some real life exposure and experiences is good for both of us. So yeah.
Glue Tread actually in one of their packs has a Colby valve.
It's funny. Actually, I got not a product plug, but I actually have some of their stuff right here. So they sent a big kit and they got some small kits that they've sent to us for us to use. I've never used them. It's interesting, when I posted the sponsorship, a couple of the teams that are competing were like, oh, we already keep those in our trail. They've saved us already before. So I'm like, oh, all right. And I've seen them in the past, and I did see some partnerships with Colby Valve. But when I was talking to Amy, her name wasn't really tied. So I don't know if it's maybe the same marketing company I've noticed in the industry. You'll have like a marketing company that'll have, 4 or 5 different brands, and they're in kind of different categories, but they'll represent them at the shows. So maybe it's something like that. But yeah, Colby Valve would be perfect for like a valve stem challenge.
Just something to think about with that Glue Tread. It comes with a lot of extra glue, and it is commercial grade, like weapons grade super glue. So you can like glue people's hands to their face for like a week. We're talking about gluing Ben's tires to like some, if we ever go to Moab together, just gluing them to the ground, seeing how that works. We talked with the Glue Tread people, and there's a lot of good ideas. They didn't approve. I wouldn't say they didn't endorse all the ideas I had for their glue, but they did say it probably would work. So you can really get creative with that glue.
Well, I'll let you know, one of the challenges that we've done in the past is we call it the Bird Box Challenge, where you blindfold the driver, and what it does is it forces them to listen to their co-driver spotter. So maybe we'll take a Glue Tread patch over both eyes, and then we'll make them do the trail.
I've been spotting for a few people where I wish they would close their eyes.
Yes. Yep.
An idea for a challenge, maybe make somebody torque down a a beadlock ring on something. Start with the beadlock ring and all the bolts set to the side, and they have to
Ooh.
put it together and torque it all 3 times to the right spec. That'd be fun.
That's a good one. I got
Yeah.
a set of beadlocks that could be mounted.
Yeah.
My shoulder got angry just hearing that. Like, that's one of those challenges I just be like, bro, this isn't funny. Like, not even straight up not cool, bro.
I will say there are some challenges that, we try to do a really good even spread of, there's some physical stuff and then there's some mental stuff. So one thing I haven't got to really touch on is I am a Tread Lightly trainer. We're, trying to benefit the organization Tread Lightly. And a lot of the core principles in Tread Lightly are things we try to incorporate in the event as well. So, it's not always about like the biggest, strongest person, the toughest thing. It can be some mental stuff as well in the weekend.
Here's another one. Dig a appropriate depth hole to poop in.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Treading lightly.
For me, and especially for the media part of it, you should do the gallon milk challenge on one of those as a thing where it's like, hey, it doesn't matter who on your team, one of you chugs this gallon of milk, and then you just have like a mile of rough road. You got to make it to the end, and you get an extra 10 points. And the video from that would be amazing.
That's actually another challenge. That would be another challenge, is clean the vomit out of a vehicle.
If I can get a milk sponsor, I'll do that one. I'll name it the Koi Challenge.
Yes. Finally, the respect I deserve.
We talked about this a little bit before the show, Twisted Tea, and how you were talking about getting that for a sponsor. There's a Tread Lightly challenge right there. It's just like, how many Twisted Tea cans did you pick up?
It's Ben, it's funny you say that because, again, kind of going back to the 36 hours URI, that was my first introduction to Tread Lightly. And they did incorporate one of their events was us building some barriers to keep people in the URI National Forest on the trail. And being that it's a private park, it's a little bit more difficult to do that. So kind of our simulated, I guess you could say, deal was we actually did a brand new trail at the park. And they call it like the Memorial Trail. And there's some flags for all the different services, some names of some service members that have been like in the community that have passed and whatnot. So that was really cool to be a part of that. And then, even though it is a private park, there is still trash that's out there that, they had a big event of hundreds of people. So we actually do give points for picking up trash and filling. Naughty Shades is one of our sponsors. They make trail sacks, full custom trail sacks that they make for every team. So we do give them points for filling up that trail sack in the event.
Nice. One last thing is, in case a competitor is doing his research and is listening to the show, could you give them some hints for next year's challenges?
Absolutely. So again, not just the challenges change, but the layout does change. So my one hint that I have said in everything is be prepared as soon as you check in to compete.
Ooh. That's actually a really good tip.
Nice.
But hold on, I've got to unpack this.
Hold on, I have to chug this gallon of milk.
But are you that person that as soon as you meet up with your buddy and you get on the highway, hey man, pull over, we got to stop and get gas and we got to put some air in these tires and we got to go to Walmart and I got to get this. Don't be that person. Be ready to compete as soon as you get in the rig.
See how he like talked straight to you, Ben?
No,
Just because he's above me.
It was weird.
No, I
just got to swing by Walmart to grab my food.
I've never done that. I was just late because I woke up late.
Yeah, I'd always run when we go meet up with some of the off-roading community and they're like, hey, let's go meet over at this breakfast place. And I'm like, why don't we meet at the gas station with the breakfast place attached to it so we can get everything done at the same time?
That's usually what we do is we meet at the gas station.
Yeah.
All right. Real quick, let's talk about your business, Jeep Lab, for a little bit. You want to tell us what's going on there?
Sure. Yeah. So Jeep Lab is my shop. I'm an owner-operator. I'm a one-man band. Really just wanted to get out of the corporate world and hit the trails and enjoy life a little bit more and not be, on call 24/7. So I opened the Jeep Lab back in February of 2018 and been chugging along ever since. So we do everything Jeeps, Wranglers, Gladiators, older Jeeps. I do love, I always said if I don't have a Jeep, I'd have a Toyota, but we're only working on Jeeps right now. And we pretty much do everything. I don't rebuild any motors or transmissions. I leave that to those guys because it is just me. So if I'm doing rebuilding a motor, it's just taking up a little bit of room at the shop for an extended period of time. So I do stay away from that stuff. But yeah, good shop, man. Been around. Just try to be a good person, be a good ambassador in the community. That's why I talked about some of the events that we host earlier, whether it be with the Rays, the Lightning. We did a beach day before Jeep Beach, actually. We had over 500 Jeeps put together from all over the community. So, and then I've got a YouTube channel too, where I kind of talk about a lot of installs. My videos on trips and wheeling don't get a lot of views, but when it comes to the lovely instructions that the off-road industry provides for companies or do-it-yourself people to install are terrible. So I get a lot of views on those instructional videos. So yeah, I've got a small YouTube channel where I try to have some fun and help out the community with that.
Here for a second, I was gonna say it's customer states. Those are the best videos.
Yeah.
I know in Florida, I have a friend that lives there. Do you still call them Jeeps if they have like wheels that are have rims over like 22 inches in diameter? Still a Jeep then, or?
I will say, I don't know if you guys have ever made it by Tampa, Florida, because that's where I'm out of. Tampa probably has to be the biggest diverse Jeep community in the world. I really have to say that. I mean, I've been fortunate to travel all over. I mean, my clientele is so diverse. I've got, University of South Florida, University of Tampa is here, St. Leo, all these. I get college kids that just their parents bought them a Jeep and they just need maintenance on it. I've got Jeeps with 26-inch rims and stereos and wheel lights. We've got the few and far between that, we put them on trailers and we go out of state. I've got.
Have you squatted a Jeep before?
No, I have not, but I've done an air ride system on a Jeep where he can squat if he wants to.
Blink twice if you've squatted a Jeep.
Yeah. When I did the AccuAir kit on a Gladiator, this guy was pretty heavily loaded, and that was about the only system where he could get his Jeep to sit to level. And I did take a picture of it squatted.
I was wondering when she started talking, I wonder if Tampa has the highest wheel diameter per capita of any city in the country.
Miami.
Miami has the largest wheel diameter. There you go.
Yeah, going back to Coy, there is I don't know if it's still around, but there's a JKU called Flubber Ruby that has a 2JZ motor in it, and it's all chrome, all powder, all paint, and it's got some big old wheels on it.
Huh. Flubber Ruby.
Yep.
Now
green, bright green and bright orange. And them Miami boys, they love those radios and those big wheels. Not even tires, big wheels.
All right, we got one last question for you. Where can our listeners find you?
So for the Trail Team Challenge on Facebook, it's Florida Trail Team Challenge, Instagram, Trail Team Challenge, and then our website where you can register to compete. You can register to be a sponsor, or you can register to volunteer is floridatrailteamchallenge.com. And then if you want to check me out on YouTube, my YouTube page is The Jeep Lab.
You're up, Coy.
Sorry, I just accidentally undid my document here, so take it away for me.
Next week,
that's wrong.
Oh, you're right. We changed it up.
Next week,
is it OTOs coming on?
Yeah, next week we've got Phil coming on to talk about the OTO Mountain Mayhem challenge coverage, I guess, because I'm going to be talking too because I was there. So we're going to be talking about OTO Mountain Mayhem. So that'll be fun.
Mountain Mayhem, talking about the event. Yeah, and what Phil does for OTO.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you everybody who listens to us weekly, tuning in live. We love our live group. You guys ask a lot of great questions, point out a lot of things that we might not think of. We do really appreciate you guys. Make sure you're sharing us with your friends, helping us grow, and God bless America.
Don't forget to visit Patriot Patch and join the Patch of the Month Club. Check out our Gaia affiliate link for up to 40% off. Also, don't forget to head over to Warren Colby Valve and 4 Patriots to see all of their great products. We are a proud part of the Firearms Radio Network. Got a question or comment? Send it to us through our Linktree account or by searching for Off-Road Podcast. Also, you can listen to us live at overlandradio.com Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. When off-road, please remember to have fun, tread lightly, and be safe and courteous. Thanks for listening.
I've got it. We'll have Off-Road Podcast rubber chickens.
I'll take one with